What's going on, Buffs Nation? Happy to break down today where the roster stands from an overall scholarship standpoint. This was inspired by one of the commenters yesterday asking if I could do a breakdown of all the transfers that are coming in. And we're going to continue to get into that at a deeper level as we get into the summer. But I was inspired by Brian Howell's scholarship tracker, decided to make one of my own with a little bit of some adjustments that I'll point out to you today. I'll go ahead and link his in the description just because he's updating it constantly. And it's great. Brian Howell needs to be followed and supported big time. But wanted to take a look at this roster, where we're at, how many more spots we have to go, and the future of Coach Prime's recruiting here at Colorado. What can we expect for the strategy for 24? So let's get into this. Initially, Coach Prime came in here talking about his 40-40-20 model. That's 40% graduate transfers, 40% undergraduate transfers, and 20% high school students for how to build a roster. And I think he's getting pretty close to that right now where we're at with Colorado. We have only 10 guys left on scholarship from the 22 season now, and we brought in just a little over 20% of those 85 scholarship spots in this year's 2023 high school recruiting class, bringing in 19. So that leaves 56 spots open to be filled by transfers. Now, I think we're a little bit low when it comes to the graduate transfer numbers, but maybe we just look at it kind of like this. 80% transfers, 20% high school. Now, we're not following that to a T because, of course, we have about 11% of players held over from 22. But I think that's realistically, that's a very solid turnover. I think that's about as close as you can get when you're talking about a full-on roster flip in 1 year. So I'll go ahead and throw the graphics that I created up here on the screen. We can go ahead and look at the offense first. I do want to point out I've highlighted the players that were here on scholarship from last year that have been kept, just to show you just how drastic this roster turnover has been. Again, on offense, we have 32 scholarship guys right now. We have 18 spots open right now. So again, I think there are cases where we can still bring in transfers that would have the ability to win those starting positions and really do a wonderful job, such as Alt McCaskill, if he ends up coming here like the 24/7 crystal ball has predicted. I forget the writer who, but there's some smoke about him coming here, which is great. But I think overall you'll see on offense and on defense, a lot of these transfers that are being brought in, they're going to be more rotational. They're going to be more depth pieces. They're going to be guys who can step in for those starters, and hopefully we don't lose a beat. Now, if we look at defense, the other thing I did want to point out with this is that our tight ends right now, everyone that we have, as you can see, was here on scholarship last year, especially with Traore transferring out. We can expect another tight end or two to be brought into this room over the summer or in the coming weeks. Now, if we go over to defense, we got another 32 roster spots taken up on scholarship. So again, with 18 spots, I would assume that we probably have about 10 or so of those spots devoted towards the defense. That's just my theory. I want to know what y'all think about that. But again, a lot of room to grow, and again, a lot of eligibility left. I did want to also point out, I did have Travis Hunter here on the cornerback position as well as the wide receiver. When you're talking about scholarship totals for each position group, I have it in cornerback just like Brian Howell did. So technically, he's on the receiver room as well, but his number doesn't count for that. But anyways, one thing that I'm wanting to get at is you'll see right now out of our 67 roster spots taken on scholarship, we only have 7 that are seniors that are graduating. That's interesting because if we're talking about the strategy for 2024 recruiting, how many guys do you expect Coach Prime to ideally want to bring in? We know that 7 guys are going to be here, or that are here, they're going to be gone. We would imagine that possibly some of the juniors are going to declare for the NFL draft. I think one guy that I'm thinking about in particular is, depending on how his season goes, Jimmy Horn. Will he be here multiple years? I still think Shador is likely to stay here for multiple years, but he's another guy that could go. So I'm wondering too, will we see a full fill out of those 85 roster spots right now? Or maybe do we go with 80 or so to make sure that we have some to fill out for another big 2024 high school class? Maybe even a little bit over that 20% mark again. Now, my theory is no. I think that the staff will continue to fill out the entire 85 spots with scholarship players. Because, again, you'll also see just with what happens with all these other college football teams, you'll see roster turnover no matter what's going on. I think we can expect somewhere from 5 to 10 guys to transfer from year to year. For a lot of these big programs, that just seems like what happens. So say we have 7 guys, 8 guys leaving the program to go to the NFL or graduating. We have another 10 guys. I mean, that's 18 spots right there. Right there, that is 20% high school students. And then you can fill out the roster if there's any other needs based on transfers, guys leaving, all of that. But maybe Coach Prime might want to keep this a little bit lighter of a recruiting class from the high school perspective in 2024 and continue to bring in veteran guys that have college football experience that can immediately transfer in. I think that that's the future of recruiting. I think that's what we'll see. We might be, even though we have 300 scholarship offers, I'm not sure you'll see big high school classes coming in here to Colorado as long as Prime's here, because we're going to continue to go after and scout those other college football players and get them here. But I want to know your thoughts. How do you feel like the rest of this roster is going to fill out? Do you think we're going to use all 85 scholarship spots or not? Do you think some of the Colorado walk-ons here are going to be offered a scholarship as well? Maybe such as running back Charlie Offerdahl. I want to know what you guys think in the comments. I especially want to know what Jackson State fans have to say about this as well, because you all have seen this happen before. So let me know what you think in the comments. It's going to be interesting to see what happens the next few days. I'm sure there will be a commitment soon. And thanks for tuning in. Go Buffs.